John, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Success 3.0. So we're here to kind of map what success might look like. So maybe you take it away. Take us to ground zero of kind of traditional notions of success.
Well, if you start back there at the hunters and gatherers, you were in the tribal units.
Right.
And probably success was someone who ended up being a good provider and lived within the ethical code of the tribe and took care of their children and took care of their old people and was a good member of that tribe in good standing.
Okay. So
Then you move on to the next phase, the era of the empire building in a way, the Alexanders the Great and the Genghis Khans, and
right.
where in those societies success was seen as whoever could exert the most power. It wasn't a money-driven society, but it was a power-driven society.
Right.
And in some ways, when we had these axial religions, we moved into traditional societies,
right.
that was able to tame, in a way, that kind of, that even the great emperors had to submit to the law of God,
right.
the higher law, so to speak.
Okay.
And those began to provide, so now we're in traditional society, and success there is, we're back to the individuals who were obedient and worked out their salvation, basically, one way or another.
Worked out liberation.
Worked out their liberation, worked out their salvation through whatever the religious tradition indicated was the way forward.
Right. That's traditional, that's ground zero. Now we move from ground zero to one. And one would be?
Well, now we move into a more modernistic society.
Modernity.
In modernity, where the individual begins to move away from the more traditional authority and begins to recognize that they don't believe the myths anymore. And so we began to move into modernity, where rationality,
right.
individualism,
right.
and one sort of becoming more successful. You kind of create your own reality through your affirmations, your visualizations, but it's about achieving. It's
achievement.
About you can learn, you can grow, you can work hard, save your money, you can get ahead. If you're not successful in life, it's your own fault.
Right.
It's really an achiever society.
Right.
So you could be successful in this society, but it's individual achievement. So you could be an Olympian, you could be a Michael Phelps. You may not get rich if you win gold medals in swimming, but you are a success because you have had outstanding achievements.
So Success 2.0. So now we're from modernity to Success 2.0. Where does that take us?
Well, that takes us to postmodern. Postmodern consciousness. And the early stages of that, of course, is a heartily rejection of many of the aspects of modernity. So how is it rejected? Well, we see the environmental movement is largely a somewhat rejection of things that produce the modernistic age, a rejection of fossil fuels, which create carbon dioxide, which results in climate change. They reject the whole idea of trying to be rich as something to aspire to, because
Napoleon Hill, let's get rich, is not.
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich is not literature that's coming from postmodern consciousness.
That's correct.
Because that is selfish and greedy and way too individualistic. They're rebels against modernity, but they put forth a vision of the way the world could be, the way people could be, that lead to greater tolerance, greater harmony, less racism, less sexism, caring about animals, caring about the global environment.
Right, including animals is a big postmodern move.
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely.
And so it's a much more inclusive view. That's what inspires people, to not have anybody marginalized or excluded. That all human beings should deserve dignity and are worthy of respect.
So integral 3.0. What might that look like?
I think the easiest way for me to talk about it would be to talk about it from my own perspective, which is business.
Great.
And I wrote a book, Conscious Capitalism, with my co-author Raj Sisodi, and we very consciously tried to put forth what I would say is an integral vision of business. And so as we reframe it to an integral, the first point is that, hey, it's not just about money. In fact, business is the greatest value creator in the world, and it creates value for not just the investors, but it creates value for customers that trade with it. It creates value for the employees that work for the business. It creates value for suppliers that trade with it.
Right.
Business is engaged, and capitalism is engaged in lifting up humanity. And if engaged in a conscious way,
Critical.
we accelerate that lifting up. And the narrative about business begins to change. We begin to see that potentially there's no greater force for good on this planet than business.
So Success 3.0, first off, we say it's got to include the best of traditional, the best of modern, the best of postmodern, meaning the best of 0, 1.0, and 2.0. So first, we move to higher purpose, and the higher purpose is transcendent. Business has a transcendent purpose.
The self is flourishing within the context of community.
So that's right
so
there.
You have to move away from the sense that these are polarities, the self versus the community, and say
this is key.
It's self and community, self-interest and group flourishing.
Fantastic.
So we're becoming more conscious of who we are, what our purpose is, what evolution is, and what our gifts are, and it's essential that we contribute our unique gifts, our unique creativity in ways that help ourselves, our families, our communities, our country, our planet to flourish at a higher level. And that's our responsibility. As we become more conscious, we have a responsibility to make a difference, to make a valuable contribution in our own unique way that contributes to the overall flourishing of this planet.
That's a perfect place to stop. Success 3.0. Gorgeous vision. What a delight.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mark.
John. Total pleasure.
Likewise.